Today is Saturday, which means it is Park Run Day, and we are going for a new Australian PB at Strathalbyn PARKRUN. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about this park run whilst trying to achieve my fastest time. So let's get into it. Strathalbyn PARKRUN is located to the southeast of Adelaide and the northeast of Victor Harbour in South Australia. So it is on the cusp between the Florio Peninsula and the Adelaide Hills. The park run starts at 8 AM like all of the other ones here in South Australia, and it is classed as a flat 2-lapper. However, I'd probably say that it is a little bit undulating, but we'll have to see what you think by the end of the video. It is also good to note that the park run is buggy/pram friendly, it is dog friendly too, and there are public toilets just a 3-minute walk away. So there's no public toilets actually in the park. However, if you go up the road 3 minutes, there are public toilets right up there, so not bad at all. The park run is also a very quiet one with only 47 runners on the day. So in terms of whether it gets busy and congested, I definitely say no, it doesn't. Even though the paths aren't that wide, there's not enough people on the paths for it to actually get congested. So in some periods, you might actually find yourself pretty much running on your own. And then in terms of if you're going to get a PB, well, there's nothing to worry about in terms of getting stuck behind people. However, I would say it is a little bit undulating, especially at the halfway point of each lap. You'll see there's a little bit of a hill that you have to go up. But obviously, if you go up the hill, you get to come back down it. So we'll have to see how well we do and whether we can get our Aussie PB today. In terms of the scenery, it is a beautiful park run again, running alongside the Angas River, and there's loads of cockatoos too, which fly above you. I don't think I've actually seen that many in one spot, but it is beautiful with all the wildlife, the river flowing next to you, all the trees, and then you go up to the top bit, and that bit's sort of like by the road. So that bit's not as pretty, but then you come straight back down into that beautiful park. But before we do go any further, if you don't know what a park run is, it is essentially a 5K run, which is ran by a group of volunteers who both time and marshal the event. When you hit the finish line, you'll be given a finish token. That'll be scanned alongside your own personalised barcode, and then you'll be sent an email with your official finish time and position later on. And now let me take you through a quick summary of Strathalbyn PARKRUN. So it's a 2-lapper all on hard standing paths, and as you can see in that top left hand corner, it is a little bit undulating. It is not just flat. There'll be 3 U-turns which you have to do 2, and then you'll head your way all the way back home and to that finish line. So there's an elevation gain of 23 metres and a max elevation of 71 metres. That is a quick summary of Strathalbyn PARKRUN, but now let me take you through it in just that little bit more detail. So you're going to start off here in Rotary Park and head your way towards the east. So this first little bit is actually on grass before you do hit that hard standing path, and then you cross underneath what I believe is an old railway bridge. Someone will have to let me know down in the comments, and also South Terrace Road Bridge too. And then you'll follow the Angas River around, making sure to look out for some cockatoos because there are hundreds of them in this park. Then once you get towards this section here, there is quite a steep incline, and probably the hardest incline of the run, which takes you up to Fairfield Drive, where you'll be running on the path of Fairfield Drive and then doing a U-turn here, and then you're going to head your way all the way back along the same path. So you're going to follow the Angas River, go underneath the road bridge, then underneath the railway bridge. However, the U-turn is going to be about here, so you're not going the full length, and then you're heading your way all the way back to Fairfield Drive. Do that U-turn again, and then head your way all the way back towards where you started, and that is going to be your finish line. So it is quite undulating as you go alongside the Angas River, and I obviously said about the main steep hill towards the far ends. But apart from that, like it says in the description, it is a pretty flat park run, so we're going to have to see how we get on. Now you know what the course is like, let me take you through some incredible park run records which have been set here at Strathalbyn PARKRUN. Starting off with the fastest male, which is Michael John Roger with a time of 14 minutes and 47 seconds. So he is one top athlete. The fastest female is Hannah Oldroyd with a time of 18 minutes and 53 seconds. So again, incredibly fast. And the average number of runners is around 50, which is crazy. It's really nice and small local community park run. And the average time is 35 minutes and 24 seconds, which is probably fairly slow, bearing in mind this is classed as a flat park run. So those are some incredible records which have been set here at this park run. But now I'm going to go through my total park run stats. Starting off with the number of park runs done, which is 89, and the number of locations, which is 65. My best finish position was set in Zielonija in Poland, where I came 4th, and my fastest times range from 22:32 down to 23:09. And every week we seem to be getting closer and closer to knocking Grangemore off of this leaderboard, but will it be today that we'll be able to do it or not? And now we are at the bit of the video which you have all been waiting for, and that is the run. So let's get down to event number 458 of Strathalbyn PARKRUN. And as you can see, it's not that busy. So there was only 47 runners on the day, and you can see it's nice and quiet, easy to get to the front too if you did want to go for that PB time. But you can also see that we are starting on grass, so that's not the nicest of starts. However, it is really dry, so if you go on a wet day, maybe it might be a little bit worse, but today it was really dry, so it's basically like running on hard standing anyway. But we're not too far from the front there. It's probably about 6-7 people ahead of us, but in 3, 2, 1, we are off and the park run has began. So let's see what time we can get here at Strathalbyn PARKRUN. So I'll just put my headphone in and we are off. So there's all the volunteers on the left hand side cheering you on as you run across this sort of dirt path and onto the hard standing, which you'll see on the right in just a moment. There's a little doggo which has gone out quickly too. So we're currently, I think, in about 5th, maybe 6th position. So onto the tarmac paths we go, and hopefully we can get a quick time today, but we will have to see. But if you've got this far, you must be enjoying this video or finding it useful. So I would really appreciate it if you smash that like button, and if you are new, hit that subscribe button too, as you won't want to miss all of the new park runs which are coming out in the future. But a nice and flat start, coming out at a quick pace of around 4 minutes and 35 seconds. So if you can keep this up the whole way throughout this run, we should be getting a PB today, but we'll have to see how we get on. And at half a kilometre in, you can already see just how much it is beginning to spread out. Obviously, look out for the public too, another cute doggo there. And we are running through this beautiful bit of the park right now where you can see a couple of cockatoos flying in between the trees, which is really cool. So make sure to look out for them. There's a load there. It's a big pack flying across the park run. They're going to end up winning if they're flying that quickly. But you'll be able to notice the elevation in that bottom right-hand corner, which is fluctuating around 60 metres right now. So there's not been much change at all. But if you do want any information on my split times or on the elevation, I'll leave a little link to my Strava in the description below, so you can go and check that out. So I've got it from all of the different park runs which I have done here in South Australia and around the rest of the world. But right now I'm pretty much running on my own. It's going to come into a little bit of an undulating section right now as we are running alongside the Angas river, but it is beautiful, so keep your eyes peeled around you. So we're now making our way towards Flinders Drive, and this is that long sort of fairly steep incline which I was talking about earlier. So you've got to push your way all the way up to the top of this. I wasn't expecting any inclines at all when I did see that it was a flat park run, but you can see the elevation's gone up from about 59 to 64 metres, so it's about 5 metres gained just there. There's some more cockatoos flying across, and now you're running alongside Flinders Drive, which is on that right hand side. But we're doing really well at the moment, so hopefully if you can keep up at this pace, it is looking like we might get an Aussie PB, which I'll be very surprised about. Again, another public there walking their dog, which is really cute again. But a beautiful park run, just running on our own and taking in the surroundings. And now you'll begin to see that people are heading their way back. That girl on the day was rapid. I actually think she did end up winning the event, so fair play to her. But you'll see that most people have done that U-turn. There'll be a little sign, which you'll see the park run sign there, and a cone to go around to. So there were no volunteers here on the day. I don't know whether maybe some weeks they'll have a volunteer there or not, or whether they don't have a volunteer the whole time. But it's the quick U-turn now, and you can see just how far the person behind me is from me. So basically just running on my own right now as we head our way back towards the start. And now it's time to head back down that steep incline. So it feels a lot better going this way than when you are going up the other side. But we're now heading our way back towards where we started. The first kilometre was done in 4 minutes 33. So I was really happy with that, I came out very quickly, and my second kilometre now we're running at a 4:44 pace. So again, pretty fast. We have slowed down. That's probably because I saw that hill and I thought, God, I'm not going to be able to keep up at this pace throughout the whole of this run. But also I did go out a little bit too quickly. I can't usually keep at the 4:33 pace. So hopefully we can keep at this 4:44 for the rest of the run. It'll probably fluctuate as we go up and down the hills, but we'll have to see how we get on. And I forgot to mention as well, there's a little bit of a smaller hill right after this green box here. So we did come up it on the way there. You can see there's a little bit of an incline. You probably go down maybe 1 meter, maybe 2 meters. So it's not too bad at all, but you might be able to see now why I call it an undulating park run rather than a flat one, because there is a little bit of undulation, I suppose. So we have managed to gain one position there as we make our way towards the halfway point. But you can just see how amazing this park run is. It's beautiful, just running through the parks with the river on the opposite side, so sort of to the right. So it's on the opposite side of those trees just there. You can see the bridges, which we are about to go under too. So that means that the U-turn is coming up very shortly. And here we go. So we're coming up to lap 1 being complete, and there's actually a really good photographer at this park run too with a proper camera there. So thank you very much to those volunteers. As we swoop around that U-turn, you can see just how much of a gap that we have got on the person behind us right now. The elevation has only really been changing by about 5 to 10 meters throughout the whole of this park run. As we make our way underneath that railway track and then the road straight after, and make our way into lap 2. So hopefully we can get a quicker pace during this lap. So that is kilometre 3 complete with a time of 4 minutes and 41 seconds. So a little bit quicker than kilometre 2. However, we did obviously have that downhill section as we now make our way back towards the uphill at that far end. But we're doing well at the moment, and if we do manage to keep at this sort of pace, we should actually be getting a new Aussie PB, which I'll be very surprised about because I have definitely done quicker park runs than this one, but we'll have to see. Maybe it's because of how quiet it is too, that you don't really get stuck behind people, you don't sort of fall into someone's pace. I'm actually sort of proper pushing myself in this park run to try and get the fastest time which I can get. But let's see how we get on as we head our way back towards that U-turn. So this is that slight incline which I was talking about earlier. So you can see it's just a quick steep push and then you're back onto the flat again. So it's not really too much in that little bit, but it does take a little bit out of view, and we can actually see the person in front of us right now. So maybe we can potentially catch them and go up another position, but we will have to see. And then it's the final time which we're going to have to push up this hill. So thankfully, once we've done this, we won't have to see this hill again. So we're pushing up to the top, then it goes back to flat again, and we are now running alongside Flinders Street. So we're not actually too far off the person in first position. However, it's still like a good 4 minutes probably behind of them. We're doing well though, so hopefully if we can keep up at this pace, we should be able to get our new Aussie PB. And now we are coming up to that U-turn, so it's the final time which we have to do that, and we've got about 1.3 kilometers left of the run to go, and we have slowed down, so it's about a 4:50 pace right now, which we are running, so we don't want to be running at that for too much longer, otherwise we are going to be struggling to get that PB time. We're now coming up towards that final downhill, and if I remember correctly, I actually believe one of the runners does a little smile to the camera, so we'll have to see as we make our way down it here. The green runner, keep an eye out on this green runner here, giving the camera a wave, so wave back to them too. Hopefully they're watching it, and if you know who they are, do make sure to send this link over to them so that they can watch it. So well done to them pushing up that hill for that final time. We've got about 700 meters to go. Our kilometer 4 was done at a time of 4 minutes and 51 seconds in the end. So a much slower one, and the slowest one of the whole run so far. So now that we know it's downhill, hopefully we can push to the end and get that new Aussie PB. But let's see how we're going to get on. Keep your eyes out still for the cockatoos, which are flying left, right and centre, and hopefully they can push you on to the end. We are now coming up to those bridges again, so where we did that U-turn in the first lap. However, we are going to be passing them, so don't be fooled that you're nearly at the end, because you are not. But we are being overtaken right now, so we've lost a position just there, unfortunately. But as you can see, the U-turn has gone now, so you're not going to be able to do that U-turn on the other side of these bridges, and instead you're going to have to keep running to that finish line. I don't know whether he's a local, he knows whereabouts that finish position is, so we started to pick up the pace a little bit more. But we're just doing a wind around this bridge now, watching out for the other walkers and runners. But you can see that they've disappeared from this section with that U-turn. They've just left the cone there for the slower walkers and runners. But we're now going to run straight past that cone and head our way towards that sprint finish, keeping currently at a pace of around 4:50. And here we go, so it is that final push coming back off that tarmac track and onto the grass/mud path. Here we go, pushing our way towards that finish line. Photographers there too, into the finish funnel. We're going to get a time of 23 minutes and 38 seconds, which is a new Australian PB. I am buzzing about it, and we come in position 8th, so I just missed out on 7th, which I'm a little bit annoyed about because I've never come 7th, and I've actually come 8th 4 times now. So I'm trying to get 7th ticked off, but I can't because I keep coming 8th, unfortunately. But as you can see, I am knackered after getting that PB, so I've had to sit straight down, but I am absolutely buzzing about getting yet another Australian PB, and hopefully we can now work our way towards getting a time onto that leaderboard. But now let me take you through a quick summary of Strathalbyn Parkrun. That is Strathalbyn Parkrun complete, ticking off the 10th S on the alphabet challenge. So we're absolutely smashing it right now with the S's. In terms of the park run, I thought it was a really nice one, running in between the trees with all the wildlife flying around you too, running underneath a couple of bridges, and it wasn't too difficult either, with just a couple of inclines too. But in terms of getting a PB, I wouldn't have said this one is the best one for a PB. However, we managed to do it, so who knows, maybe this is a good park run if you're looking for a personal best time. And then in terms of how busy it is, you could see that it was nice and quiet. You never got stuck behind anyone. It wasn't congested at all. And I just really like the size of the park run and just how local it felt, with all of the great volunteers who were there on the day too. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to all of the volunteers who were there, because they were supporting us, taking amazing photos too. So big shout out to the photographer who was there on the day. And I really enjoyed this park run, so if this is your local, then you're very lucky. And now, like we do in every other park run video, I'm going to take you through a couple of the pinch points. So these are the points which could slow you down from getting your PB here at Strathalbyn Parkrun. Starting off with pinch point number 1, which is going to be the small hill at the far end. So obviously with a little bit of an incline, that is obviously going to slow you down as you try and push your way up to the top of that hill, but it's not much of one, so you're not going to lose too many seconds in this park run. And then pinch point number 2 is going to be the U-turn. So you obviously have to do 1, 2, 3 U-turns in this park run, each one taking off a couple of seconds with your time, whereas if it was a quick swooping turn, then it would be obviously a lot less time, which you are losing. But apart from that, it is a really quick park run. It is really nice and flat, and it is all on hard standing paths. Obviously the last little bit is on grass, but that's not going to take much off your time. So overall, only those 2 pinch points are going to be added from me for this park run. But if you do have any of your own, then do make sure to let us know down in the comment section below, and everyone else can see it down there. And now let me take you through the tips and tricks section of this video, so how to get to this park run and where to go for that all-important park run coffee. Starting off with public transport. So in terms of trains and trams, unfortunately there are no stops near to this park run, so you can't get either of those. However, if you do want to go there via bus, there is the Strathalbyn South Terrace stop, which is just a 5-minute walk from the start, and it takes this list of buses. And then also, if you want to drive to this park run, then there is ample parking. So there's the parking spots up at the top, which is about 1-minute walk to the start line, completely free, and it's pretty much empty because there's not that many runners, and there's also street parking. So there's no need to worry about parking at this park run. And then finally, the all-important post-park run coffee and cake. Where to go for that? Well, they all head over to Jack's Cafe, which is just a 7-minute walk from the start line, and apparently it's meant to to be really nice. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go there on the day because we were traveling on from Strathalbyn, so we didn't actually have time, but I definitely recommend going over there if you are going to stay there for a post-park run coffee and cake. So those are all of my tips and tricks for this park run, but do make sure to let me know down in the comments section below if any of those things have changed. But now it is time to take a look through my after run stats, where not much has changed. However, we did get a new Aussie PB. So the number of park runs increases from 89 up to 90, which means we are 10 away from being part of that cowl club. The number of locations goes up to 66.2, and my best finish position and fastest times all stay exactly the same. But one day I am determined to not run off this leaderboard, and we're not too far off now, as the closest one is 23.09, so only about 30 seconds off, and then we'll be on to that leaderboard. Thank you again to Strathalbyn PARKRUN for hosting this one, and if you have enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it if you smash that like button and subscribed if you are new. It's 80% of you who are watching right now are not subscribed, so you don't want to miss out on the future park runs. But if you did enjoy this one, I definitely recommend checking out last week's, which was over at West Beach Park Run, which was beautiful coastal park run. However, it was very, very windy. Or you can go and check out all of my other park runs in the worldwide park run playlist, which has them from all over Europe, Asia and Australia too. But next week we're going to be heading over to another S, which is Seacliff Esplanade Park Run. So again, hopefully it should be a fairly quick one by the beach. However, will it be super windy? Because that's what we found in the previous beach one. We'll have to find out next week. So I'll see you all there with another park run.